do we ban Tristana? Question we got to ask ourselves here. It is Tristana again, so the Rumble most likely going to go over to T1. Funnily enough, the fact that Rumble was up like 50 CS in lane didn't end up mattering to how the game played out, which still feels quite weird, as the Corki hasn't won a game yet in this series, but remains extremely high prio. And the Sejuani, I think that's a great adaptation. I think Faker Yone still not where it needs to be, especially not compared to some of our other Yones. Although Showmaker also didn't have the greatest performance on it in their previous series. But Owner on Sejuani is going to feel a whole lot better. That said, I do think Maokai kind of stomps in the matchup. I think Lucid's Maokai actually looked great in game number 1. Again, slowly we see him become stronger and stronger. But I do think Lucid has enough champions in his pool. The fact that they instead go for the Cassante, though, is really interesting to me. I think
so. It starts with M. Well, it's a different tree. I can understand how you get confused. But Ivern is not Maokai.
Okay, but why, no. DK's like, guys, we lost the Maokai game 1. Let's play something else. I'm telling you, that's what they're thinking. No, they're not. I think this is the right choice. Maokai, to me, is still the absolute best at setting up objectives in the game. And I think it also just plays really nicely into specifically the Sejuani, being able to tank Sejuani ultimates and just throw out an ultimate to counter. The head-to-head, absolutely stellar. As T1, I imagine going to go towards the MF again and just try and play, and then MF Leona, most likely, which would allow Moam to go for Braum, which means that you are very low on engagement. You have a good amount of poke, and it does make your composition extremely hard to approach for the very short range here on T1.
Let's see that final pick. If we do see the Braum or the, well, not the Bard, the Bard's banned. Let's see what Harriet does want to play here. A lot of discussion going into this.
Just Alistar again.
Alistar. I mean, he made some plays. And Blitzcrank, I've been asking for this all day with the Maokai. And
it'd be a show of faith for Moham.
It's not hard to hook a target that is rooted by Maokai.
I would agree with you, Veldus, but I've seen stuff today that makes me question everything.
Yeah.
Moham, we've really only seen him on the engaged champions, but the Blitz does come through. Blitz Maokai, popularized by Gen G, is going to come through. And I was actually saying this to you backstage. I don't know. It wouldn't be the craziest story.
Still got a chance.
Wouldn't be the craziest story that we've had in the regional qualifier, Veldus. This is the place where a lot of weird stuff goes down and a lot of magic.
A sixth place team rising up from the ashes.
You know it.
Well, we'll get to talk about that a little bit later on, but today we're going to talk about Game 3 between T1 and D plus Kia. We got Maokai and Blitz once again. Let's hop onto the rift.
생선까지 30초 남았습니다.
Here we go, game number 3. And Moham thought maybe he was going to get a little frisky with the hook, but just looking to pressure.
Has already hooked, so he's activating his mana regen. Very good. You'll love to see it. Aiming, a lot of diversity in his skins. This is, I think, the best one. Look at the little flippers.
I don't generally play this one, but I do acknowledge that it is quite good, if not the best. But I don't personally play with it. I do play a lot of Ziggs. This is the skin that Lehens often plays with. So maybe trying to channel a little bit of good old Lehens.
Will not be having any lane swaps this time around. We also have Kingin with the Grasp. What we've often seen is Cassantes just go for the Aftershock in an attempt to mitigate some of the damage if you do get a short trade. And I think also kind of cope with the fact that you're not nearly as big of a threat because you are losing lane. Both junglers starting on opposite sides here, so Lucid will be pathing towards the bot half, which you have a fairly strong lane, and also obviously level 1 for the Alistar lane is always going to feel a bit weak as we are fighting.
Yeah, level 2 here. The combo goes in on a Moham. He knocks up the ranged minion and gets the hook down. Ignite as well, but this is his Ziggs at level 2, which doesn't really do anything. Combo coming up for Keria. He's got his headbutt again. Just trying to do some extra damage in onto Aiming. Do they have kill pressure? Doesn't look like it. Aiming does have TP as well if he wants to back, but yeah, not the greatest start for Moham's Blitz here. And a good combo from Keria.
Yeah, that's not ideal in terms of what you want to see. Might be on me. I was giving Moham some praise for his hook in the last game. Immediately ends up backfiring. Actually really big. If he gets that auto onto Keria, that could be the difference between Keria going down and the TP coming through. You trade 1 for 1. Instead, Keria gets an early Vamp Scepter. As we take a look, the calculation of them being able to actually get to level 2 at about the same time ends up working out. But then, yeah, just a misclick. I think the extra damage could have been the difference maker, especially because he's still with the hook available as well. Just those 2 skills landing. Maybe trade. Aiming gets a kill. That could be enough. The one mitigating factor here is that Aiming obviously can just TP back, so I don't think that in terms of lane, he's going to suffer too much, but Guma's still accelerated and is going to be feeling great. We do have Lucid still towards the bottom half of the map, but T1 going to be feeling a whole lot better about the start of that early laning phase here towards bot.
Yep, definitely going to be feeling pretty good. Mid lane, a lot less action with no lane swap as well. Just got the 2 of them going head-to-head, although Lucid is stopping by to say hello. Just walked past mid. Now he's going to his Raptors. And at the end of the day, trying to make another play here onto the bottom side. Keria, I believe that was his real flash. Because I think he was running.
It would have to be, yeah. We heard the flash sound, and I'm pretty sure it didn't use the last one because I think both him and Guma still had his only had the ignite used. Does mean that that summoner will go down and DK won't get punished for it, but you can still see obviously laning phase is looking really good. Don't forget Faker in the last time laning phase also got punished really hard early on. Doesn't seem to be the case this time around. And DK are very happy to just let this go to late. Double tier, call for Showmaker as well. So they are not looking to get aggressive early on here. Does mean that Zeus, as you would expect, is building up a very healthy CS lead here, right from the get-go. Like we want with the Rumble, and it also beckons the question whether DK shouldn't have gone for another lane swap. I do think that the early levels are very, very rough, because you also don't really have the CDR yet to use your skills and try and have that help out with the CSing. As Lucid is here, but the hook doesn't land.
It's a very interesting strategy to just give Zeus the strongest top laner on the patch. Well, top lane champion, I should say. You know, had a big impact in game 1. He wasn't the main reason why they won, as you mentioned, but I still feel like giving it over has been kind of a consistent risk that DK have been taking and trying to get a lot of value out of. Showmaker just kind of ignoring Faker for most of that, killing the minions, and then getting a decent trade there at the end. Has his call built up, or building up at the moment, as both teams trying to make a play here for the grubs early on. Owner already over here.
Aiming's on his way though, very early with the swap. Owner will be able to get 1. Don't think he should be able to get more than that, although Zeus does have 6, and Kingen is nowhere near, so yeah, I think DK actually good choice to back off here. With Keria also in the area, and Gumayushi, Kingen not yet back towards the turret. Also is going to be sitting on a Spectre Scowl and playing into the MF, so going to be a little bit unfortunate in that regard. And we already see a lane swap come through, and T1 can actually just TP Guma towards the top half of the map. So DK, I think, making the right call as well by not fast pushing that lane and just letting Guma get back there, keeping Aiming very, very safe.
Yeah, definitely feels like the right call at this point in time. We do have an Infernal Drake to start off, so our Rift has been unbroken. We have different Drakes this time around.
Very nice.
Lucid did press the smite button there, which a lot of people were very impressed by. Able to steal away the crab. And we'll see how much pressure gets put onto that Drake. But here's Kingen in a bit of trouble. Just going to flash away. And he's Cassante, so Owner doesn't even bother to throw the ult. But they do get the flash out of Kingen to begin with. Aiming getting slowed up and eats nearly a full ultimate of damage.
I'm going to guess that he used his package. He used his satchel there. And
Probably, yeah.
because you can obviously otherwise not use it if you're Guma, because it will just get interrupted immediately, or he can knock himself away. Neither of those things ended up coming true. Kingen still going to take a bit of a beating here. But we are slowly getting to the point. Once you have your first item done, you're still not going to be able to contest Prio, but you should be able to sustain once that Koenig comes in, which is what I imagine will be the first item. And also want to highlight that, particularly with the Maokai, I do feel like the Blitz kind of changes. When we go way back, Blitz really was one of the champions where if you don't snowball the lane, and if you don't get a really high level of early map impact, the champion just kind of falls apart. Should be a lot better this time around. There are actually a lot of good targets, I think. If you can get Zeus, right, he is gonna be forced to flash. Guma obviously is a great one. Even Faker in the right scenario, if you have enough CC to ensure that he can't get an ultimate off to either turn it or end up taking you down. There is a lot, and there's a really good setup with the Maokai, which is the main reason why I think we've seen the come back, even as a blind, when it comes to Genji.
Yeah, it depends on the player sometimes. I feel like DK in this spot, they were like, yeah, I mean, the Alistar, we're not really scared about that. We can pick the Blitz into it for the lane, and then eventually we're not going to be hooking the Alistar ideally anyway. And it's just going to get a lot of value alongside of the Maokai. So feeling pretty good about that. We haven't seen the combo just yet, but we definitely will. It does require a decent amount of control to, you know, try to set up and to be on the aggressive side of the fights and stuff like that. And this series so far hasn't been very, you know, balanced and
yes,
hasn't been very calm and collected. As Moham trying to get in and punish Faker, the flash does not stop the knockup, and they are able to block that one. But Faker, he gets the shield and he gets away. Because the damage not quite there for the side of DK.
And Showmaker, if he hits that rocket, that's a guaranteed kill. Faker himself was in a very similar scenario against Zeka, where him and Ona tried to gank, didn't actually get it. And that should have been a wasted flash from Faker, because Moam already got the wind up on the auto, meaning that it does go through, guarantees the setup. So that should have been a really big punish there. In mid, doesn't end up making it happen. T1 now looking for counterplay or possible dive onto King, and Moam's on his way, but...
You mentioned he has Spectre's Cowl, but with this TP coming in, they're trying to keep Owner around. He's eating a full couple of ults. Aiming nearly dies, but the flash on in, he's gonna find Keria into the satchel, but that is, of course, Alistar, and he will just walk that one off. Guma still basically full health. Still going to be hitting that one. Meanwhile, Lucid just doing the grubs. Not half bad. Maybe even trying to get Zeus down here with a little bit of a surprise.
Oh, the speed boost there.
Yeah.
It's going to be enough to dissuade. And I don't think there's anything that Zeus can really do.
Oh, he's going to drop that down. Yeah, he's got Faker nearby, but...
Yeah. Phase rush. He's just running away.
Maokai.
Yup.
And to think that wasn't banned.
It's the worst part is, like, right now it's still kind of okay, but you just know that eventually your objective setup is going to become such a nightmare. As we take another look, that flash shouldn't have worked out. Moam blocks it as well. That rocket ends up being a difference maker. The extra shield there from Faker means that he stays alive, but Showmaker hits that big one. Could have been a kill, and the Corki getting accelerated again. He was 8-0, and it unfortunately wasn't enough for DK to win the previous game, as we have a possible setup. Again, very, very slow on the Drakes here. We have had a lot of action around the rest of the map, but Drake's so far not been looked at this game. Is it a water spill? I'm seeing seeing some paper.
The stack of tissue and towels and yeah. As the whole stadium figures out why and what happened.
Very sheepish face, as you do when you spill something. I say as someone with a lot of experience of spilling stuff.
Not going to name any names, but we have some water spillers on keyboards on our team as well. Well, that looks like he did save his keyboard, so that's useful. And now I would assume maybe they get him a new mouse pad, or maybe if that's his and he just wants to use it, might just stick with it. He's probably like, yeah, it's a little wet. Oh. The keys are a little wet. Okay.
At least it was water. You know, if that's coffee or tea or a soda, life will be very, very rough.
That looks very clean.
Looks nice.
The water did its job. Good work, Lucid.
They're probably going to check, see if everything's still working, all the inputs are good, and then we should be able to get back quickly. Wasn't a particularly crazy point in the game, so as far as pauses go, not going to be feeling too rough, but I wish I could have heard what Showmaker said to him, because you know if there's any player that won't let you get away with this, it'd be him.
Yeah, maybe eventually we will. He does have quite a lot of cups.
You got to stay hydrated, Veldas.
Like, how many cups of water has he drank so far? Looks like maybe 3. You know, makes you wonder. Maybe you could just use the same cup for all 3 cups of water.
I don't know, maybe.
What do you think, Chronicler?
So once tea, once coffee, once water. That was the one he spilled.
He's really bringing Bro and Brew to the next level.
Yeah. What else? What else do people drink? Sodas, I guess. Red Bull. Yeah.
He's trying to manifest the Red Bull Baron power play, isn't he?
By spilling his cup.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've leaned that heavily into superstition just yet, Veldas.
Well, let's see what happens after this spill.
Spill the cup into free triple Baron hack.
All right, new keyboard. Now, this is something that could potentially affect. And most of the players, they'll bring like a backup keyboard. So you would assume that Lucid's got one of his own. Or at least, you know, they don't bring it with them, but they keep one here just in case. Just checking it, making sure it all feels good. And Faker's asleep again.
Yeah, it's doing a reboot. As you do. You gotta make sure your firmware's updated, Veldas.
Yeah. You gotta get that that Windows update.
Well, it's consistently, right? You can't. Sometimes you click that no, I don't want to do it right now button for like weeks.
Yeah.
And then you just know that you probably should.
Eventually, it'll just happen, regardless of if you want it or not.
Yeah, but you can put it off for as long as you want, and then eventually, like, okay, it's fine. Update.
Mm-hmm.
We can make it happen. All right, that's another cup.
Yeah, no, that's his third one. I think that's the same one that's spilled, because the top is on the other side. You can't. There it is. You see?
Yep.
Top.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Well, Lucid spilling his third cup of water, and it looks like we're ready to get back into the game. This is Game 3 of the first best of 5 of the regional qualifiers here. The winner of this best of 5 goes directly to Worlds as our 3rd seed. And T1's just going to start up this Dragon, as they did have control of the bottom side river. DK did just get the majority of the grubs. They got 4 in total, giving them a bit of a buff. And the first Drake will go to T1, and it's Chemtech Drake up next.
We still are spared a Chemtech Rift, which obviously makes us very happy. As we can see, Showmaker Could have really used that kill because right now he doesn't really have a whole lot of combat stats. Guma does not have his flash available right now. You can see is playing it quite safe. Owner and Carrier are somewhat in the area, but with Lucid's ultimate... Okay, I was about to say, like, they should be aware that on this crash there is an opportunity. And Carrier makes his way over, and the play does not come to fruition. Right now, pretty solid lead here for T1. Nothing crazy, just the CS in top lane, I think, is the biggest contributor. Some blades, and then that first blood. But especially after how the series has played out, Valdez, I'm not putting full faith in either team until the Nexus falls.
You never know what you're going to get. That's part of the fun. It's like one of those mystery boxes, you know. You don't know what's inside until you open it. And we're here in Game 3. We don't really know what's inside this game just yet.
Diving Faker. There's no TP available. Zeus is up soon, but not here just yet.
It's going to be a dash used, and now Lucid could just, he's just going to try to do it with the W, and they just block the ult. And this time, it looks like they should be able to get him, but 3-man knockup comes in. Faker dodges the 1Q, but eventually does go down. And yeah, not much you could do to get out of that one, except to see it coming ahead of time.
Yeah, they didn't use that much.
And they have the ult. So now, rooted, Ziggs ult on top. There's the grab. There's the combo. Guma not respecting it, thinks he can ult the wave. But now DK have stuck around for a very long time. TP's coming in. Zay's trying to get more, as should be Moham to go down, and only Moham, and it's to carry.
Yeah, no, that's you take that 100%. You get free push on top wave. You trade flashes, but who cares? Aiming's still going to be able to catch this one. And you trade 2 for 1, and the only one that ends up going down, as you're pointing out, is it's Moham. Okay, so Faker Faker dying here. That's obviously it's unfortunate, but that I feel like it's just a good play from DK, right? Catches him off guard. They don't know that there's this many people. But look at the cooldowns that are being used, or rather, look at the lack of cooldowns that are being used. They're like, this MF doesn't have flash. You can't walk up to that turret. Very straightforward. And then they have to invest the TP, and like, yes, you get the kill on Moham, but outside of that, Lucid's able to walk it off. Yeah. Thanks to the Nimbus Cloak. Aiming is completely fine, and they get the shove on top as well.
Looks like Owner took the Rift Heralds while we were in the replay.
So
that's how I interpret.
That's the counter punch then.
Those zoom-ins.
There you go. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jonah Strong.
Yeah.
The gang.
Base Jonah Strong.
Keystone here is today as well.
Yeah. Our observer team, pretty good at their jobs.
They really are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, Lucid sets up a lot on the bottom side. We're going to be seeing a lot more of that combo, understandably.
And now we're even again, which is nice. This is where we should be in this series, Valdez.
Yeah.
No team is allowed to pull too far ahead of the other.
See Guma try to step in front of that, knows he has the BT shield, just trying to deny the bomb kill onto the cannon. And I believe he did. So nicely done. You can always build up that BT shield again. Sometimes it's the little things to keep this little Yordle behind. Ziggs is quite the menace in the meta nowadays.
You see as well, Moham just continuously running around the map, looking for dives to set up and people to hook. Guma, though, has a lot of safety towards the top half of the map, has a lot of vision there, so wasn't feeling too threatened. Obviously also can rotate quite quickly due to the fact that he is a map. Can just strut around the rift. Also has TP back up now, so a lot of summoners in general available on either side, really. Only Lucid doesn't have his flash, and Zeus on the other side. Next Dragon is going to come up. I wouldn't fault either team for just letting this one go. But DK actually, I think, pretty solid spikes here. We do have Showmaker now with the Triforce available. So we'll see if they put any importance on, because thus far, I feel like DK have given up the first 2 Drakes every single time. Might be looking to do that here as well, Valdez.
I think in game 2 it went 1 apiece. And then T1 got the first mountain,
yeah, you're
and
right.
DK got the second.
Yeah, you're right.
And then the third Mountain Drake ended the game.
That did
As
happen.
it normally does. Very normal state of affairs in that second game.
It's kind of the T1 special, right? Win one team fight, game is done.
Yeah.
So it's very funny to see that flipped around.
Happened against them.
Showmaker, couple of long swords. Looks like TK do heavily want to contest this. And we should be able to clear out this wave without too many issues. And this is where the power of that Maokai Blitz, I think, really is felt.
Well, they're just going to try to do it on the Zeus. Flash forward isn't great, and Kingen is going very deep for this. Might actually have to pay the price, but Locket not even able to save him, and Zeus takes a while to go down, but they do take him down. And now T1 going to use this to try to push into mid. Ult's coming down, and now Moham may be in a little bit of trouble as so many CCs come in. And he's just going to be forced to flash at the end of the day. Now looking to turn this one around. The Maokai ult in, it comes, and you cannot avoid it. Down goes Keria. You love to see the lack of counterplay. Meanwhile, Faker was just in the top lane. Got a turret.
There's a lot of forced plays going on here, Veldes. I think Kingen probably should have waited a little bit so that some of his damage was there before just diving a Rumble with the equalizer available, particularly because he did go for the Andres into first strike as well, right? And then the short pen boots. And then also trying the hard force in mid. Definitely questionable. Kingen, unfortunately, he misses the Q. Is like, you know what? Might as well. Feels very tanky. And if he had flash, he actually lives there. And I imagine the calculation was with Locket, I'll be able to make it through. Isn't actually the case, but the play still ends up working out because they get the kill, they get the turret. And then here in mid, against Ziggs, you just need to be aware of the fact that your wave's always going to get cleared very, very quickly. And then Lucid, the moment that play on bot side ended, just speeds his way to the mid lane, ends up making it there in time, and that's going to be the second dragon going over, and it is a Cloud Drake here. Cloud Soul to come through.
Yeah, I mean, honestly feels really fantastic, especially for DK's comp. I think, I mean, even for T1s, right? You got a lot of ultimates to throw in, and it is just good. I mean, if you can stack up 3, you're going to be zooming around the map. The Cloud Rift as well, really going to open up some possibilities to set up some plays, as we have a completed Morellonomicon second item here for aiming.
Yes.
I think the Oblivion Orb itself probably
that was great,
pretty good value, but the Morellonomicon pretty interesting. Looks like he wants some immediate value.
Yeah, it's good it's Yone. You know, MF obviously has a BT.
Yeah.
But I don't think, as you're saying, that it really warrants actual finishing. Looking at most of the value there. If they want to play for Baron on this back, then it makes a little bit more sense, you know, trying to go for the most immediate power. We do have some very aggressive play here.
Yeah, really sending it in to try to kill Owner, and he just dies. I really don't know what the idea was there. Just kind of hoping that the rest of T1 would not be there, and well, they were there. Oh boy, this series is really delivering.
What is it delivering, Veldes? That's my question.
Joy. As an observer,
I think it's really easy to, you know, see this and go, man, what is happening? But it's really, I think, a great commentary of these two teams of what it means to be human. You know, we're not perfect. Sometimes the pressure gets to us, Veldes. Sometimes we just try to do something and it doesn't work. And just walking up face first to punch the Sejuani in the face is definitely a good example of that. They get a teleport, so that's nice. That's something, at least, here. They don't use any other ultimates, which I think is good. Could have opened the window up for T1, and Moen was definitely dead nonetheless. We just take this for what it is, which is the qualifier for our third seed. One of the two teams is going to be our third seed, and it'll be a completely different meta. You know, the Worlds patch has come out, really revamping everything that's happening, and I imagine that will change how our teams look. I hope.
Yeah, could help. It could also hurt, depending on, you know,
Now,
what
why
the
would
match
you,
looks
why would
like.
you say that? That's not what I want.
Just trying to be realistic here.
That's not
you
what
know?
I want to hear right now, Veldas. I'm not in a solutions-oriented mode, okay? I just want to express my emotions, please.
Well, you're always able to open up to us here at the LCK Global Chat.
Thank you, Veldas.
And here on the cast.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Well, I think we're also seeing a little bit of Moham just kind of being thrown onto a pick that he's probably not extremely
He's no lag.
practiced on.
That's for sure.
I would say that a lot of players aren't, and he's probably like, oh, I get the extended range. You know, I can probably hit this guy, and then he's just kind of like, oh, well, I'm committed now, and in I go. And, you know, a little bit of Moham, a little bit of inexperience on the pick. Just trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. It was a very funny play at the end of the day. And it doesn't really change all that much. It doesn't really seem like either team has made some big strides in either direction. We do have the first Cloud Drake coming up here in 30 seconds. But they did give the kill over to Guma, I believe. So feeling pretty good about that, at least on the side of T1.
Kingen really wants to try and finish his rend wins if he can before the next fight comes through. If Zayas can hit level 16 as well, that would be absolutely huge. Level 3 on the ultimate could be the difference maker, because it looks like both teams are posturing to try and play very aggressively for this Dragon. Lucid just trying to get that Celestial opposition. Won't be the case. Obviously, Keria, if you do hook him, just ults and probably will be able to get away with it as...
Okay, they're trying to go in this time onto the Sejuani again. Lucid in a lot of trouble, and he's getting so low. It takes him quite a while. And takedown of Faker's going to be traded. And now we get the root coming down. Everybody on the side of T1 just trying to run away. Kingen thinking about going in, as neither team really committing to anything. Showmaker goes over the wall, takes out Keria. The all-out gets used on Azeus, who is pulled in. Has to go into stasis, and Guma desperate to try to save his buddy. It's not going to work out, as the shutdown does go to aiming.
And crucial there, Lucid ends up going down, but they use so many resources, and he still gets his ult off, and that's the key thing. If he doesn't ult, T1 just walks it off, and that's the end of the play. But instead, the ultimate does actually come through. They don't have the damage to 100 to 0 him. And now, DK is going to get that mid turret, going to be able to get additional map control. They're going to start up this Dragon. I don't know if they can actually get it.
Trying to maybe kill aiming here. He does have Satchel, and he does have Flash. He's just going to hold on to both of those. Faker is going pretty deep for that. Disengage Cone will deny anything. And, okay, they really want to take down this turret, but that's a hook on Owner. He's just tanking the turret right now, taking a million turret shots, and he's not going to go down. And we got another TP in here from Showmaker. He's going to be there anyway.
It's fine. Owner as Warmox. Doesn't matter, Veldas. It's okay. He's sustaining back up, as is Lucid.
Calculated.
They can do this. This is fine.
I mean, he still has his Flash.
We still haven't gotten the actual fight. Oh, DK. They're pulling a reverse T1. They're posturing.
They want the inner, though,
Well,
instead of the Baron.
Yeah, I actually thought they were going to go to Baron. There is still vision on this, so T1 also knows guaranteed that this isn't happening.
Yeah.
Still, this is only a second tier, or a second Dragon. Unfortunately, there is a... oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, don't underestimate Ziggs.
I actually did, yeah. I thought that with the wave clear that they weren't going to get it, but
no, I did too.
Oh, okay, I feel less bad about it. I'm just going to go...
Yeah, this is just 3 turrets in trade of a Cloud Drake. And yes, T1 do get one back. But now, a little bit of pressure here onto the Baron, perhaps, although there's still that vision. So yeah, they're not going to do that. So 3 turrets in trade of 1 and a Cloud Drake. Let's take a look at this team fight here once again.
So, if you actually kill the Maokai here, this is completely fine. But they invest Owner's ult, Keria's ult, Faker's ult, and Guma's ult. All of this to kill a Maokai that still ults you back. So, like, that gives the time for Kingen to arrive, right? That gives the time for Showmaker to have a truly peak Valkyrie over the wall. Ends up working out, flashes away this time around. Doesn't have to stay on the equalizer. And now, that ends up being a really big win. His own... Owner is just completely fine, I say, as he does take a good amount of poke, but Could have definitely been a big issue. Would have, I imagine, at least forced the flash, but he holds onto it. Ice cold. And
Yeah.
it's still only a 2k gold lead, right? So it doesn't mean as much in the grand scheme of things. Zeus has TP available. Will not be heading towards the bot lane to try and shove in, and we see Kingen back. And I don't think DK really want to take too big of a gamble because T1's dive and engage is obviously still absolutely immense. Also, we haven't talked about this yet, but who would you rather be here if you go late game? I imagine it's DK just from the fact that Ziggs exists and you have Maokai, you have Cassante.
Yeah.
So much free damage and setup that eventually I think T1 just isn't going to be able to take.
I would agree. I mean, there's a lot of champs on the T1 side as well that are just going to be running straight at a Ziggs.
Yeah.
And
lack of range as well.
You don't quite have the dive that you had in Game 1 either. Like, you still have elements of it, right? But you don't have the Nocturne. You don't have the Bard for setup, right? Just stuff like this that gives you that little bit of extra range to potentially punish a Ziggs. You don't have stuff like that. Now you have other tools, obviously. But, yeah, I mean, if the Ziggs just continues to get fed, Showmaker also quite fed himself, and very far ahead of Faker, you're kind of just sitting back and you've got a lot of protection with the Maokai, which is why I was just so surprised that the Maokai didn't get looked at all.
Back comes through. We'll see if they can use this to maybe force a summoner. And DK, they don't want to risk it. Getting a TP out of Zeus alone, for example, would actually, I think, be very advantageous as Moam is taking some chances there.
He's really got the Blitzcrank energy
he does,
doesn't he?
And he needs to.
He's really just staring in the face of T1's entire comp and saying, yeah, I dare you to do something. And, well, the dare is going to work out. The hook is not going to hit anything, and they just engage on Elusive, who flashes away, gets his ult off again, but the equalizer's ticking away, and the ult from the Maokai is not followed up on, as he should have Warmogs as well. Moham looking for another hook here, as DK will look to extend very deep into the jungle. The Blast Cone will be denied, and Lucid is healing up as we speak. As the hook, once again, Moham just cannot seem to hit those. And, you know, the combo's still there with the Maokai.
Just gotta hit one, Valdez.
You just gotta hit one.
Goes both ways. Moham, you really gotta hit one, and you just gotta hit the one. If you end up hooking Zeus or Guma or Faker, that can be a fight one right from the get-go. We do see Lucid getting a ton of value again out of this Warmogs. There's a reason why this item has been rushed by junglers and supports across as T1 was the one that obviously got that previous dragon. Did have to pay a pretty hefty price for it, but still, they were the ones that got it. Now vision control fully here for DK. Are they actually going to pull the trigger? Or T1, do they call the bluff? Because they don't know. I don't think they're doing it.
There it is. There's the one hook. That's all you needed, and you didn't even need the Maokai. Follow-up here from T1. Pretty decent. Moham nearly gets punished. Zeus trying to get that kill, but it's not going to happen, and yeah. They get the kill and they get out, so DK will be happy with that.
Can they use this? Definitely gonna have to get some backs in. And this should be second Drake. They're gonna get that second Drake real good. Valdez, as we take another look. And they do have...
He did it!
He did it. He did get the hook this time around. Actually, nicely done by Carrier. And then the extension from Faker to force the flash out of Moam, so at least DK have to pay with something. And now, well, they can also just do this. This is the more high risk, but there are still a lot of ultimates down. They need to actually do it. Okay, they're not doing it. They're not doing the thing. Well, this is a good zoning ult, guys. Okay, just do Dragon. It's fine.
Because this is why they need someone to shot call, okay?
They need someone to just be like, guys,
if somebody was calling the shots.
Because they didn't have Owner, and they didn't have their big team fight ultimates, Valdez. Well, back to this.
Oh, wow. That was pretty interesting, but that's an Alistair. And
still takes a lot of damage, though.
Also a Cassandra. Oh, Baker. Oh, man, that was a huge pick on a Showmaker. And now Amy's going to go down as well. What a super play there to pick him off. And now T1, they've got an angle from Aaron.
That's the 2 damage dealers done. And now T1. Yes, the health bars are low, but there's no damage available here for DK. Darius playing spoiler. I don't think Lucid's going to get to the pit. And I've seen this one a bunch of times before, Valdez. They get Nash. I don't even think this time around, though, that you will get the dragon, although with the backs, it's not a lot of damage, but it looks like they're not going to be looking to contest with the health bars low. And you just need to hit one hook. Well, never mind, yeah. I figured if you have either Showmaker or aiming, you can do this. So that's Soul Point. And it is what looks like initially not too bad of a setup. A lot of damage onto Keria.
Baker's got it stacked, and boom.
Gets the Corki immediately, and then aiming just gets completely roasted by the equalizer, plus the flank from Zeus. And without the 2 damage dealers, this composition just doesn't have a whole lot to offer. Soul Point now here for T1. Baron taken by T1. Rebel Baron power play already at 2.3k. You gotta imagine this time around they can do a little bit more with it, Valdez. Right? Surely.
Surely. Yeah, that's the energy we need for this series. Yeah, I mean, it's very true. I think that they're still dealing with a lot of wave clear, and they're really going to have to commit to one lane probably, especially because, you know, the top lane's being pushed in actually by DK. So they're just going to try to go bot with this Baron buff. They still have 2 minutes on the Rebel Baron power play.
I'm pretty sure if you take the gold grab of this series, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
Just perpetually up and down.
That already happened.
Oh, I know.
Saw that
I mean, like,
throughout
throughout every single game.
Yeah, so the issue here for T1, I would say, on the push is that not only is there the wave clear, but there's also the threat of the combo still. As they're just going to try to get ahead of it and try to engage on a Lucid and King in. That's a ton of damage coming out, and the ult comes in from Faker to keep him around. And you see Lucid just desperately throw out his Nature's Grasp, and it's just not going to do much. So now there's not much threat of a combo either.
Oh, Faker. They don't always get hooked. Doesn't actually come through. Crucially, though, they get the kill, but they're not able to get the turret. Still have to invest a lot of resources there. Crucially, I think they actually get the CC on Kingen while he's on top of the equalizer, meaning that with Void Staff, Riftmaker, and Sorkpan Boots, that's not a tank. That's just a toasted Cassante.
Yeah.
As he starts off with an attempt to get a pick onto Keria, actually gets the Q behind him, but then, yeah, take a look at this. Standing on top of an equalizer and an MF ult, but there is still a lot of damage that gets thrown back into them, and they also use all 5 ultimates. So they kill Kingen, but the gold lane is still very even. And what if we just get
another Elder Flip?
Another Elder Flip game.
I mean,
that would be something.
It really does seem quite difficult for these teams to figure out a way.
That's a good
in the game.
Good angle for Lucid.
Yeah.
If he can get it, and I think T1 realized the Rebel, or the Baron rather, is about to time out. That's going to be it gone. And that was, what, 3k?
Yep.
In total.
I mean, it still feels good, but it's not game breaking.
All inners are still up, though, Des.
Yeah. So it feels good in general, but not relatively good. Yeah.
No, I get it.
Yeah. So surge into the lead. You get a second Cloud Drake. You're on Cloud Soul points. And, you know, T1 with this, they can get some map control.
You're probably thinking, why didn't I just ban Ziggs? So that I didn't have to deal with infinite wave clear on that annoying Yordle that can't reach.
I mean, it's kind of difficult because when you see the Jhin again, the second ban, and you're saying, okay, well, we could ban Ziggs here, but then Smolder's up.
Yeah, oh, Kingen.
Yeah, there are a lot of people here in the box, and Kingen didn't seem to know that. He is quite tanky, actually, this time.
Doesn't even have to flash.
Yeah.
Ice cold.
That Kanik Rookern, man, is putting in some extra time today. It's getting some overtime pay.
Okay, Valdez, gonna ask you a question right now. Is Moham gonna hit the hook?
The hook?
Happening. The hook. You know
I thought the hook on our owner was the hook.
Yeah, well, and then they didn't do anything with it. That's not his fault, but is it gonna happen?
Can DK utilize the hook? Do they know how to get the hook and then do something with it?
I really think, unless they actually hook Guma or Zeus, they will, but they won't. Like, they will be able to, but they will just hesitate too much, and then it won't happen.
Zeus really is... He is kind of the guy right now. I mean, you look at Guma, he is full build, actually. So he's probably the guy.
Yeah, both
I take it back.
Aiming and him.
Yeah. But
Both level 18.
I wonder what's going to happen to that Merlin Nawakon. Is he just going to stay on that? Maybe. It still does have a lot of value.
Oh, you can feel Moham wants to flash. But he shouldn't.
Yeah,
He
you
will get
remember
turned on and die.
before you were like, oh, they got the flash out of Moham. I'm like, I don't know if he's ever going to use that aggressively anyway. But could use it defensively. There it goes. Equalizer comes down. They get the combo in. Keria going to catch him as Faker coming in on the flank. Not going to hit the target, though. He's going to get extremely low this time around. But now Kingin all alone against the entirety of T1. And even the flash is not going to save him. Down he goes. And that was the fight right before Cloud Soul. And T1 should be able to take it down.
Showmaker was backing. What happened there for DK? It felt like when aiming got a little damage down onto Faker, there was an opportunity to turn. But it looks like it is again Elder Flip or bust this time around. As T1 get the objective. Showmaker is now full build as well. Actually has 6 items.
Look at how fast they are! What is happening? They're just sprinting at them. Lucid. It's a lot of damage actually put into T1, and now people are getting rooted up. Keria, a little bit of trouble up against that wall. The poke is coming in, and they're just trying to back very desperately here.
Oh, Valdez, if they didn't have that Cloud Soul, that could have been very dicey. I really
it ain't over
feel
yet.
for every fan that has a heavy emotional investment into this series, because I don't know what's gonna happen, Valdez. Are they gonna start up? You double TP'd! Start up the Baron, please!
Do objective.
No, not happening.
How about we all walk over the Rift Scuttle vision and show them we're not doing?
Okay, Valdez, what if an unmovable force meets doesn't meet an immovable object?
Okay, well, Showmaker's going to show Bit that he was attacking something there.
No.
Now they're in mid.
We gotta pull the trigger at some point just to keep them sharp. Like, T1 are not falling for these bluffs. You can see the complete lack of response. Like, you're not doing Nash.
T1 invented this. Like, come on.
There's no way.
It's just a bit too obvious. A little bit too obvious there, DK. And
still, this gold lead at this point in the game, it's not really that big a deal, right? Looking at what T1 have as well, for Keria, Owner, and even Zeus, I think the Cloud Soul has a lot of value, but for Faker and Guma, it's kind of whatever, because they're both stationary, more or less, when the ultimates come out.
Yeah, I mean, triple Cloud Drake is going to feel good at least.
It's still great, but it's not. If it was Hextech, you'd be feeling like the game would be in a very different state, right?
Especially feeling good because you would have denied it against DK, who, if they got Hextech, the game would already have ended. Let's take a look at this again. So
what's crucial here to me is that this is happening. And I think here, there's actually a turn opportunity. With Faker getting taken this low, but they don't have the necessary damage, right? It's a 3 versus 5. Showmaker was on the top wave, and that's like, if he TPs without getting the item finish, it probably feels really bad. And like, I don't know if on the Corki you really have a great angle to find a TP, but still, it feels like DK a little disjointed as T1 might be looking to start this. There is a Blitzcrank and a Maokai on the enemy team. But the turn for T1 obviously is absolutely incredible, as long as no one gets hooked.
Yeah.
Do have eyes on Moham.
And DK, I mean, they have the combo. They haven't really been utilizing it aggressively. It can be difficult from behind, especially because T1 have been very proactive about forcing fights on their terms.
Side lanes aren't real, Valdez. It's going to keep
I don't recognize the first word you mentioned.
There's only mid lane.
Well, there's the Baron, too. A little offshoot of the mid lane. Look at the damage to this Baron. I mean, it's already pretty much gone. As Lucid goes in, he's not going to get the steal. It's secured by T1. Yeah, he got his ultimate off, but there's 0 follow-up from DK. T1, they take another Baron down. And let's see what they can get done with this one.
as T1 has found out, you can actually take Baron. Just gotta attack it, and it feels again as if T1, the team that is actually pulling the triggers on these plays, is just getting further and further ahead, and it feels earned, right? Guma's sitting at literal 6 items, sold his boots, Mercurial Scimitar on the table, but it's also just it feels like DK is paralyzed, and it's not from the pace of the game, but it's from the pressure and the lack of knowing what to do. It feels like there's so many scenarios where they had the opportunity to do so. And you see T1, they are aware of that. They know how much damage they have available. Really nice ultimate here from Owner, because the only one that really is a threat is Lucid. And even though he smites, just not in time, ends up getting taken down. And particularly with this Baron pit, like, you can't approach. The ultimate does all the zoning you need, and now this Rebel Baron power play, the gold is a lot more relevant, but more importantly, lines up perfectly for you to set up this Elder. And I don't think we're going to get an Elder flip. I think T1 is going to take it and go up to that match point, unless DK find an absolutely crazy catch. But now, look at the defensive itemization as well, right? Obviously, can't really go for Owner or Carrier. Zeus now has a stopwatch available. Flash for him, flash for Guma, flash for Faker.
Yeah. Guma has the cleanse, and I mean, there's just a lot of ways to get away from it. And DK, even when the game state was relatively even, they weren't even able to put 2 and 2 together at that point.
Well, we're still going to try. We're still going to, and I really hope T1 don't opt into this. Just keep Faker in the side lane. Just push. You have Baron buff still for another 50 seconds.
Mid lane and the objectives are the only thing that are real.
I can see you back, Valdez. Oh,
look at this. Yeah. Trying to get an angle on a Showmaker.
This is great. No, yeah, just push.
No.
We are not just pushing. And to be fair, DK is starting up the objective now. There will be Yone on a flank.
They know he's there. They're trying to get the turn. The flash on in. The hook comes in. Faker in a bit of trouble, as he is going to ult away. He is fine, but now here comes T1 trying to engage onto them. Lucid getting pretty low, and he is going to survive.
Did they have the damage?
It's pretty huge equalizer though. Hits 3 and is massive from Zeus. It's going to burn them to a crisp. He goes in to the back line and takes down Showmaker, as he will go down to his GA and eventually die. Double kill comes in for Zeus, as the Rumble should not be let through in the next game, as we have the freeze coming in. And Lucid is just on the run, knowing that it is pretty doomed, as T1 will look to push and end the game.
And T1 going up to match point, the defending world champions, looking better, and it's starting to feel like it will be a repeat of that first series. The order in which the games were won, very different compared to last time. As T1 going to take down the Nexus here. Another 45-minute game, Valdez. And match point now here for the